Fox News host roasts racist Zohran Mamdani for claiming to be African American on college application. They say he should call Elizabeth Warren, and rightfully so. They should roast this dude because how many Democrats cosplay as other races? They pretend they're other races. Like, of course, the Elizabeth Warren. This is where the whole Pocahontas name come from. Trump clowning her because she pretended for years for benefits to be Indian. Now you got Zohran and not to mention Camilla Harris, who's been cosplaying as black. We all know that her parents are both Indian, including her dad, who they try to pretend is black. The man is Indian. We got proof. What's her name? Candace Owens did some great investigation into that. So she's not black. Everyone knows that Camilla Harris is not black, but they lie and they use this for their own benefit. And his excuse for this, his rationale for saying this is ridiculous too. So we're going to play the clip and we're going to talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this important information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Here we go. Let's get right to the clip. Here we go.
But you know who hates America?
I think we do know.
The Democrats' new nominee to be the mayor of New York City, Mr. Mamdani, clearly despises America and everything that we stand for. Full-blown communist, also a racist, by the way. And it turns out that when he applied for Columbia University, he described himself as being black and African American.
Crazy.
Because his parents happened to be in Uganda when he was born.
Okay.
Dirty, dirty, dirty stuff. Again, but this is par for the course for Democrats. They lie and pretend that they're other racists so that's so they can benefit themselves. We know that Elizabeth Warren did the same thing. But she said she was Indian so she can get the sweetheart job at Harvard. This is dirty, dirty work, man. And then they have the audacity to try to become public figures after this stuff, after they do this dirt and get caught.
So he did an interview on Thursday, and he said he did this with the New York Times. He said he did not consider himself black or African American, but rather an American who was born in Africa. He said his answers on the college application were an attempt to represent his complex background, given the limited choices before him, and not to gain an upper hand in the admissions process. He was not accepted to Columbia, we should also add. So maybe he
come on, man. Are you for real? Like, who believes that? Who believes that's the reason why he did that? He knew he did that because of the whole for him to get an advantage. We know that. We know that. if they didn't have what is it called? It escapes my mind. Escapes my mind. Never mind. I'll come back to that when it pops back in my head. But we all know that it's ridiculous. We all know that what he was really trying to do, he was trying to use that to gain admission to Columbia because there's no other way he would get into Columbia. That's why.
should call Elizabeth Warren and see how this worked out for her. But she did use it to get ahead. So, maybe there's a difference there.
Well, and Charlie, I heard you talking yesterday a little bit about this. And, the proof of a politician is in the pudding. Listen to what he says, because that's what he's going to do. And here is a flashback shot that you were talking about the other day, Charlie, about what he wants to do about the housing situation. Listen here.
Why do so many people end up homeless? It's not because there aren't enough homes to go around. There are plenty of empty homes. No, it's because housing people is not the primary goal of developers or landlords. Their goal, simply put, is to make a profit. If we want to
isn't that the goal of every business, is to make a profit? Wait, that's a stupid statement. Of course they're building these homes to make a profit. Why else would they build them? That's a dumb statement. And the way he frame it like that's a bad thing. Why does anyone else create businesses? Why are we entrepreneurs? Why do we have our own businesses? It's so we can create a profit, so we can make money for ourselves and for our family. Like, but he's trying to make it like that's a bad thing.
And the housing crisis. The solution has to be moving toward the full decommodification of housing. In other words, moving away from the status quo in which most people access housing by purchasing it on the market, and toward a future where we guarantee high-quality housing to all as a human right.
And the best thing about this guy is that he is a complete rejection of Democrat policies in New York City, a complete rejection. Democrats have run the city for decades. Even when you had sort of quasi-Republican mayors dip in and out, Democrat policies have dominated this city. No city in America has more government controls regarding housing than New York City. All of them instituted by Democrats. And this is a complete rejection, a complete confirmation by voters that these policies failed. And this is where they're turning to.
Well, when he says the complete decommoditization of housing, that means he wants the government to run all housing. He wants all private entities to be eliminated, essentially arguing for communes. And as we know, throughout the course of human history, communes lead to more poverty and people starving to death. So if New York City wants to go down that route, there's plenty of history to read about how that's a very bad idea.
And you wonder if the Upper East Side elite liberals that plan to vote for him know that he plans to move them out of their homes. Meanwhile, if I were a New York resident voting for mayor, I wouldn't vote for him. I'd vote for Carly Shimkus.
Yeah, she'd be a great mayor. Mayor Shimkus.
Oh, hey, I get used to that idea.
Yeah.
If anybody asked me how I feel about capitalism like they did with him, I wouldn't say I don't like it as my quote and try to be the mayor of the greatest economic capital in the world.
Right. I don't like it. They asked this man about capitalism. He said, I don't like it, in the most capitalistic city in the world. That's a great point. And it's I kind of low key hope he gets he wins, because New York will get their just desserts by voting in all these leftists that's destroying their city. They don't have a housing crisis because because of the prices. Well, the prices are high, but the reason why it's so high is because they don't have enough homes, because of the regulations in New York is ridiculous. Just like in California, they make it difficult to build. They make it difficult to create things because of all these regulations, and they're regulating people out of the city. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in the news. Until next time, peace.